You're listening to Cain, Randy, and Brooke on Scratch the Vinyl.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Scratch the Vinyl. You made it back for another week, and we are no longer surprised that you did because you guys have been showering us with millions of dollars and gifts and everything else. So we're pumped about it. We're glad to have every single listener, and we're glad to make it back. So this week, unfortunately, we don't have the man, the myth himself, Randy, Mr. Chill Wilson. He is out there fighting the good fight, fighting Dr. Doom with the Avengers. He made it to the second cast calling. I think he's right there behind Robert Downey Jr. and all these people for the big roles. So he's not here this week, but we definitely miss him, but he will be back next week. So Brooke, we have the big red machine though. Brooke, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. And I can attest that Randy is out fighting crime, or at least at meetings, to figure out how to do it better. Yeah, I didn't make it this morning. So yeah, I guess everybody now knows that we are superheroes. Duh.
What is your hero? Like what are you exactly, Brooke? I know that I'm probably a secret supervillain hiding in my parents' basement, but what are you exactly when it comes to the Avengers?
I can't tell you.
Oh, it's a super thing.
It's classified. You'll know when I'm there, though. Mm-hmm.
Like Iron Witch or something, you know?
That's my band name, Iron Witch.
What the heck else have you been doing, Brooke? You had mentioned in the pre-show that you were out golfing, possibly, or swinging golf clubs at kids. What have you been doing?
Pretty much. Yeah, we went to one of our local bars, have an annual golfing tournament. And every time I've been golfing, I swear to God, it is the most dangerous sport I've ever played, because balls are thrown all over the place. You might get hit. I fell out of the golf cart again, and I'm really sore. I stretched a lot though, but you know what? It was a fun time from, all the bruises I have now. I think I'd probably be better in football. At least you have padding. Or maybe I'll wear a football outfit next time I go. Oh, and we did dress up as like 70s polyester pants. Oh, it was a lot of fun. Dangerous, but fun.
You mentioned possibly falling off of a golf cart, which I don't know how that what are you, like one of these people that like hides in the back or what?
No, it was just a two-seater, and I didn't know there was an oh shit handle, and we turned really fast, and I went, oh shit. I fell and laughed pretty hard, about peed my pants. And, out there you pee in the woods or whatever. There's maybe one urinal out there. And so I'm popping a squat, peeing, because I about pissed myself falling off of the the cart. It's a rough sport, but they say it's really relaxing. I don't see it. But I did get some napkins though, just so, women, when you're out in the woods. Yep. All us women, and poor Jason, three of us women playing, and, we're not professional. We're kept going, okay, what stick do we need? What stick is it? It's like the big fat one. Oh, the wood. All right. We had no clue what we were doing. Poor guy.
Now, without Randy moderating and you and I, it's really dangerous together. You're talking wood, you're talking balls, flying everywhere. I mean, the low-hanging fruit is literally right there.
Oh, I had a magic trick. I was like, you guys want to see a magic trick? And I'd have two balls in my pocket. And then I'd go down and I'd go boop, boop, and I'd show them the balls and be like, I found your balls. It was fun.
I thought this was a completely different trick. I don't they do that with ping pong balls?
You can do that too. I juggle those.
Blabbing on about ping pong ball tricks. So let's bring him on. He is a returning guest, everybody. They're on tour right now. I mean, he's an extremely successful producer. He's probably disgusted by my basement studio right now, but I'm glad to have him here. So let's bring him on right now from Escape the Hive. His return is now. Michael Beck, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. I have to say, through that whole front intro, my tongue is sore from biting down on it. There are a lot of jokes left on the table. That's all I got to say.
Well, I can't wait to hear a few of yours. Is there balls involved? I'm kidding.
Tech golf, there was the fact that you were in polyester is probably why you slid out of the golf cart. The fact that you mentioned being a pro golfer, but you slid out of the golf cart. Okay.
I have to blame the what's the little lady that goes, the cart lady with the beer. She was often there by us, so I blame her.
They're pros at that. I mean, they know the perfect time to come over there and get you more drunk by every time they come around. Yeah,
Which is right when you're squatting by the bush.
Yeah.
Excuse me, miss, do you have any napkins I can borrow? She's like, there's an outhouse 2 feet away.
The pros use that golf ball washer, like in a rag like that. That's the trick that they don't let you guys know, but they let me in on that little secret.
Oh yeah, the ball boudet.
I'll bet urine works so much better.
Yes.
Man, I wonder if Randy's gonna hate this episode when we put Randy's kind of the guy. We love Randy, but Randy, believe it or not, he's a party guy. But when it comes to like the show, Randy's always kind of reeling us in. Like Brooke is like up there with the with the comedy, and then I'm like a little kid giggling, and I have to say stuff, and then Randy's always like I don't know, like the uncle that's kind of like, oh, what do I want to say? He's kind of good, but he's not too, and the same.
He keeps us grounded.
I'm a singer band with ADD, so we cannot get anywhere today.
Yeah, what were we talking about again?
6 hours later, we're like, oh yeah, hold on, let's talk about this new single you have out.
Huh? What single? Huh?
What is there? Huh? A single? Seriously, let's talk about it.
Let's get into it. I mean, I would invite all the listeners to go back and listen to that first episode that we did together.
15.
Yeah, it was episode 15. It was a blast having him on. And, now that he's here in the studio, I think we can kind of move on and move forward a little bit. So I don't want to rehash all that, but what I do want to do is I want to move on to what's happened since we've talked to you. It's been like almost a year, right?
Well, a lot has happened. We have a new record coming out. We have a new single that just dropped called Around the Sun, that is on all the digital platforms as of May 1st. Video for that will probably be first part of June, somewhere in there. On tour, which is the common thing from the last time. But the uncommon thing is that, we're going to be here in Lincoln on May 9th and 10th, playing both nights over at Gray's. And I can't wait for that. And it's right before my birthday. So this may be a blowout. Gray's might have to shut the doors by Monday. So.
Oh my God, I want to, and it's right before your birthday. That's so cool. I want to go. And is it the 9th and 10th, right? Your 2 days?
Nights, yeah.
And the doors open at 7:30, get to kind of hang out, and then 8:30-ish, 9 probably play.
Yeah, there's a band before us on Friday. It's a great band with actually some old friends of mine called Helen Bach. And then Saturday is what I've heard is a really cool band called Pop Goes Metal. I don't know much about them, but they sound really cool. And then we're on after them each night, and we do about a 90-minute set. It's a full show. It's different than the last show. If you saw us last time at Gray's when we were on tour, it's a different show. We do kind of like an acoustic set in the middle of it, like a little mini acoustic set. And we'll be playing all the stuff off the new record. So a lot of new music, a lot of the stuff off our debut, This Is Gonna Sting, will be that night as well. So we're covering a lot of ground. So should be fun.
Man, that's a ton. I mean, that's an action-packed lineup both nights.
Yeah.
I think he's right. I think Gray's might implode after all of this. Like, seriously, like there's a lot going on there. Yeah, I will say this about Gray's. They're a wonderful sponsor of ours. I love Pat and Karen.
They're great.
They're fantastic. I know that you have a fondness for them too. And I'm glad that like when you came back to Lincoln, this was your place to go.
Yeah, we had the, we're fortunate enough to where we could have played a couple different places, and Gray's is just they've been really good to us. And when she offered us both nights, we're like, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it's and I'm from here, so this is going to be fun. Or was from here anyway.
So I have a music question for you then, because I can remember playing back-to-back shows at venues and different things. And do you guys tend to deviate from the set list on those deals, or do you just or on some of it, which isn't a deterrence because a lot of people will come one night or they'll come the other night. Right. Some people will come both nights. They just want to party. Why not come hang out with Mike around his birthday? But what do you guys generally do?
The set list will change a little bit. Sometimes we'll kind of do it on the fly. The basic setup is the same, but yeah, it's even if we're playing the same set list, it's kind of a different show. We definitely feed off the crowd. I'm really fortunate to be standing in front of the band I'm standing in front of. So they're really good musically. So it's a high wire act every night for the most part.
Well, you say like the band that you're with, I mean, you're a seasoned, talented musician as well. I mean, who are some of the guys that you play with? Like, yeah, tell us some about them.
Oh, thank you for that. The bass player is a guy I've known for a long time. And, that's what's cool is these are all guys that I've wanted to play with. So when this band kind of came together, it started out with me and Paul Williams, the bass player, and we started writing songs. I write songs with bass players a lot. That's pretty typical for me. And then Rich Hinshaw is our drummer. Rich is just he's a drummer's drummer. He's a madman. He's, constantly smiling, twirling his sticks, and he's just a nut. He's everything a drummer's supposed to be. He's and a great guy. And then Conrad is our guitar player, and Conrad is younger than us, but he has a soul that's probably older than mine. He understands all the 80s references. I don't know how he does, but he understands all the 80s references. He knows all that music. His dad raised him right. He grew up on, White Snake and George Lynch. So, he's right there with the rest of us. And he just got nominated for a Grammy here not too long ago. It's Conrad Varela. And he plays with Alice Cooper a lot. And yeah, we're lucky to have him. It's a high wire show.
Wow, what an honor to be in a band with. I mean, you've had your brush with people as well, right? I mean, I know you played with the Red Dragon Cartel, didn't you?
With Jakey Lee.
Yeah,
and that was great. And being able to look to my left. Is that what it's saying? Yeah, he was on my left, and sing the songs from the guy that wrote them. That's bucket list stuff. So, but Conrad, and in doing so, I've been lucky. I've played with some, really great guys in most of the bands I've been in, and been very lucky in that way. So after playing with Jake, and from his Aussie stuff and the stuff he did with Badlands, and after having those shoes, when we put Escape the Hive together, I wanted somebody that could walk in those shoes and be comfortable. And Conrad absolutely does. I don't throw around virtuoso very often, and I probably wouldn't do it if he was sitting in front of me because it'll just make his head explode. But he's a great guitar player, and he is genuinely a nice guy, which for a guitar player is almost unheard of. It's like unicorn territory. Not that they're dicks, but sometimes. And Conrad is, and not that Jake was very good to me, but Conrad is a great player. He fits right in the band, and just a super nice guy. I mean, the whole band is, again, I'm lucky to be standing in front of him.
Have you had your brush with Alice Cooper as well?
I have, yeah. I've worked with Alice Cooper. There's a charity that I work with called Solid Rock down in Phoenix that is Alice's charity. And I've done that for 21 years. So I've worked with him for the last 21 years on that charity. But then, I've been on stage with him a couple times singing backups on Schools Out and I'm 18 and stuff like that. Conrad does these things where they're called pop-up shows. So he's done a couple in San Diego. There's been some in Phoenix. They kind of, obviously they're smaller venues or they're corporate things where they're not very well advertised because it's Alice. You can't say that and not have 15,000 people show up immediately. So they do these pop-up shows and he doesn't use the Alice Cooper band or the band he plays with. He has other musicians come in, including his son Dash, and Conrad usually plays those. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm stalking Conrad right now on Facebook and I see pictures with him. And man, that's crazy. He says, yeah, he's like, he's with Uncle Alice. No big deal. That's pretty badass.
He really is. Is he really like in the scene from Wayne's World where in the back he's just this intellectual, and like what is Alice Cooper really like behind the scenes?
I'll tell you because it's real simple. He's not the Alice Cooper that you would think he would be, but then he is. Off stage, he is the nicest, most down to earth, and I mean, you kind of get it. I mean, what are you going to shock him with? What are you going to do that he hasn't seen? He's, been out drinking with Jim Morrison. He's trashed a hotel with Keith Moon. I mean, there's nothing you are going to say to him that is going to shock or surprise him. So he is very down to earth. He's very low key. Of course, he's got the greatest stories ever told, and he is a really good golfer.
I need to get Uncle Alice with me then. Maybe he could drive the cart.
I don't know if he uses the oh shit handle or not, but
that's okay. I use both of them. So that's really bad.
He is a super nice guy. Super.
And that could go one or two ways, I mean, he could have just full of, ego and be like, I've done this and this. Yeah. And when you actually meet him, it's like, no, he's cool as hell. He's telling you stories, just fits right in. And I mean, that's more people need to be like that, regardless if you're a musician or who you are.
He literally, I mean, as you can imagine, he's got the greatest stories. And even a lot of the great stories don't involve Jim Morrison or Syd Barrett from Pink Floyd. They're just him. I've heard a bunch of them and they're awesome.
You know how they take like famous people? Who's the guy? He's a comedian. He goes around with musicians and they sing and they in the car. Maybe we could get a golf cart with Alice and we can tell stories. I think that's a great idea.
Golfing with Uncle Alice would be an amazing podcast and show in general. And yeah, like you talk to him,
he's a great guy.
Oh, dude, it'd be unbelievable.
He's got, again, he's lived so much life that on any given topic, he's got 6 or 8 stories just off the top of his head. So it's always great being around him.
That's one thing I love about this podcast is I always love to hear people's stories and like some of the crazy shit they've done or people they've seen or, I'm just in awe of it because it's fun to listen to these stories that you kind of wish you were there to do it. But then sometimes you're like, do I want to get in a golf cart and fall again? Or do I just want to just listen to these cool stories? And I know you have tons. I'm sure you have tons and tons and tons.
I'll give you one. This is one I heard a while back. Fender Music is in Phoenix. Their corporate headquarters are in Phoenix. And the charity that Alice does is called Solid Rock. It's basically a teen center, but instead of basketball and foosball and stuff, it's musical instruments. You get, you walk, you're 14 years old, you walk in there, you want guitar lessons, they give them to you. You don't have a guitar? Here's a guitar to use. I mean, it's really cool. And the charity is why I support it. You know, Alice doesn't hurt, but the charity is really cool. But when we first got the building built, which is about 10 or 12 years ago, he went to Fender and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. Can you donate some amps and guitars and all that stuff? Because, you know, Alice can walk into Fender and do that. And, you know, of course, they're like, absolutely. So, and they say, can you come by? Yeah, absolutely. So he comes by, he goes by the Fender corporate office, and Fender's a great company that, you know, if you work there, everybody's got a little amp and a guitar, even if they're on the phone, that's what they do. I mean, why wouldn't it be that way? So he goes into the room and they're, you know, all talking, and just as a happenstance, a bunch of the guys that play, you know, obviously you got to be a musician to work there, but in this room, in this call center, they have a band, and that's what they do on their break. They go into the lunchroom and it's all set up and they play Alice Cooper songs. And, you know, they don't play I'm 18. They don't play Under My Wheels. They play, you know, seaside classics that, you know, are deep cuts, but Alice Cooper stuff. And one of the guys goes, I mean, would you sing a couple of songs on break with us? He's like, absolutely. So they go in there and, you know, they've got like 40 or 50 songs but they're all deep cut stuff. And they give him the list and of all these deep cut Alice Cooper songs. And he's looking at it and he's getting this puzzled look on his face. He's like, guys, you know, a lot of these are 60s, 70s songs when I was really drinking, and I don't know any of these. I don't even remember the titles for the most part. Some of them sound a little familiar, but I have no idea.
Hey, I can relate.
I mean, there's songs that I've written that I literally can't remember a single lyric
Right.
unless I practice. Like, so how is that for you? Like, I mean, you've been in the process for many years and you've been in all these bands. Can you remember all the songs, or it's different for everybody?
I have to write the first word of every lyric to the songs we're doing now. So I remember them. I don't know if I could perform them here today. Fortunately, you know, being on tour helps that quite a bit. But yeah, especially right now. I mean, again, a lot of the songs that we're playing in this set for Escape the Hive are new songs that we are literally recording right now for the next record. We've got about half of it recorded, and we wanted to take the other half on the road so they can kind of grow organically before we go back in and record them. And yeah, my set list has got a lot of lyrics on it, so I remember what they are because it's still pretty new.
I still don't know how you guys do that. Like when you're in 5 different bands too, and maybe different genres of the bands, and then you got to figure out how to remember all of these lyrics and I'm in awe of it. It's kind of like when you're really good at something, I guess it kind of just flows with you. But sometimes phonetically, if you forget a lyric or something, you know, like a friend of mine always said, just yell watermelon and just keep singing, you know, like I know.
And then there are some, because we haven't recorded all of these, there are some lyrics, like, you know, part of a second verse or that I don't have finished yet. And I actually use that because most of the good stuff comes off the cuff. So there's a lot of times where I make up a second verse. It hasn't been recorded yet. You don't know that it's not right because it's not wrong. It hasn't been laid down yet. And a lot of times I get lyrics from stuff that just comes out and like, oh, I'm keeping that.
Okay.
Oh, I agree with you. Like when you just kind of make up your own, like I do that with Randy at karaoke all the time. I know that the words are right up there, but something sounds better to me. So then I just make it up. And I think that should be the lyrics, but you know, but that.
Brooke, are you there?
She is. She's just frozen in time.
Frozen in time. What in the world? No. Brooke, are you there? Oh, we can't hear you.
No audio.
There we go. Sorry. I freeze a lot too under pressure. Just kidding. That's a diamond.
We call it rebooting, but
Yeah, I am always rebooting. Well, we just moved and our internet's a little messed up. And so it's constantly just, who knows? I probably have to go to your studio next time. I can sit in the closet like I normally do.
Hey, there's room on the couch right here.
there is. You know,
Man.
Brooke, I bet you don't know. Maybe he doesn't want us to mention him or not. I'll ask him. Do you want us to mention you at all? The guy behind the curtain here. There's somebody else here in the studio. He just doesn't have a microphone.
It's a mystery
Is that
guest.
right?
What? Is it? Tell me. Is it
Well, go ahead, Mike.
Brian All. If you live in Lincoln, you know Brian All. It's Mr. All. You know who he is. He played drums for Hooked for a long time.
Yeah.
But what some people don't know is that Brian was in a band in mid 80s, right? Mid 80s called Brigade. And I was the singer. And Brigade was literally the first touring band I was ever in. So we toured, down into Kansas and over into Iowa and, the basic regional thing that most bands do. But we got some airplay on a station in Wichita, Kansas. And, it was the first time I heard anything I recorded on the radio. So, Brian's part of my history. So he's my driver today.
I wasn't prepared, or I would put Brian on because I've seen Brian perform with Hooked and different things. And I was even at one point when Stan Liberty and I were trying to put together a band before he sobered up, realized I don't want to be with this guy, being me. He went on to bigger and better things. But we were I believe he was trying to recruit Brian to be the drummer. Yeah. But I think we were trying to call it something like Liquid Courage or something goofy like that. I don't know if you remember that, Brian, but yeah.
And Brian is a phenomenal drummer in his own right. So I've recorded 2 or 3 Hooked records with him. So, but yeah, I know Brian since I was 14. We were riding BMX bikes together. So yeah, I've known him for a minute.
I could see you guys having like your garage band in there, and riding your BMX bikes over there and, hey mom, we're playing in the garage again,
we used to practice in my parents' basement for another band that I was in with him after Brigade. In Brigade, we rehearsed in my guitar player's. He owned his dad owned like an apartment complex, and we rehearsed in the bottom maintenance shed in like this basement. But I've known Brian forever. So, and when we come into town here this week, after we play at Gray's for 2 nights, then we go to Iowa and we play in Council Bluffs on the 13th, that Tuesday. We're staying with Brian.
That's cool. Because you're playing with Twisted Chrome, right? Like,
Yeah,
isn't that? Yeah, yeah. And then you're going to move on and are you going to Grand Island and Wyoming?
Go to Grand Island, and then we go to Wyoming, and then we're going to come down through Denver and back home to Phoenix. So, yeah.
We have quite a few listeners in the Grand Island and Kearney area. So hopefully they listen and check it out.
We'll be at the filling station. It looks like a great club. Yeah. Obviously, I've never been there, but it looks really cool. It's going to be he's renting a flatbed trailer that we're going to play on. So it'll be an outdoor show. It's on is it a Wednesday? Wednesday, I think. Yeah, Wednesday, May 14th. But it should be a great show. Really good show. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
All right. This is as good a point as any in the show to stop the insanity for a second and talk about our sponsors, the people, places, and things that keep this show going. We'll roll that Elegant Sasquatch ad, and then we'll do the local roundup. We'll tell you guys' weekend plans. They're already made for you. We already kind of mentioned it here, but we will touch base on what all's going on in this fine town we call home. And then we'll get back to it with Escape the Hive's very own Michael Beck. Welcome to the Late Late Show with your host, Squatch.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We have a controversial guest tonight. He claims to have the world's smelliest beard and doesn't plan to do anything about it in the foreseeable future. Let's bring him on right now. He wants to be brought on by what he goes by on his socials, Toxic Beard 87.
Hey, calm down. Don't hate the smells of it sells.
Hello, my toxic friend. Let me ask you something. With brands like the Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company, why do you choose to smell like a rotten egg on Easter?
It all started when I was 16 years old. My beard was growing like a forest full of pine trees, and it was time for me to find a delicious scent to make Cindy Jo fall in love with me. I found a beard oil in a store, and I thought for sure she was going to be mine. I caked it on, and I was so proud of the way I smelled and how I looked. As soon as I saw Cindy Jo, I went running over to her, but instead of her embracing me and taking me in, she told me to go away and told me I smelled terrible. It was the worst day of my life. It was right then that I vowed that I would never put another product in my beard again. And so here I am, Toxic Beard Guy 87, and I'm not going anywhere.
Well, if I'd gone through that, it'd been tough for me to show my face again, too. But luckily, there's companies like the Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company that have multiple products that'll have girls like Cindy Jo melting in the palm of your hand.
Sasquatch, do you really think that there's a product for me?
Yes, my friend. There are beard balms, beard oils, beard butters, and beard washes that will make your whiskers the talk of the town. You'll be smelling like a dozen roses, and you'll be looking the best you've ever looked.
I would give anything to get Cindy Jo to talk to me just once again. Where can I get this amazing product?
Head on over to elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com and find yourself getting lost in the amount of items that they have to offer, including beard boxes as well, with a full line of some of their favorite products.
There's only one thing left to do. I'm going to go over to Etsy right now, and I'm going to buy as much product as I can, and I'm going to find Cindy Jo, and I'm going to win her over. Thanks again, Squatch.
You heard it here, folks. We changed his mind. Next on the show, we'll have a doll with an eating disorder. Then we'll have squirrels riding skateboards. Till then, head on over to Etsy right now. Tell them that the Scratch the Vinyl podcast sent you.
All right, let's not waste any time here. There's too much going on in this town, and darn it, we're going to tell you exactly where it's going on. So let's start at Gray's Cake. We've already mentioned it, but we're going to mention it again. Our guest right here on the show, Michael Beck and his band Escape the Hive, are on their 2025 Around the Sun Summer Tour. They're going to be at Gray's Cake Friday and Saturday night. Friday night, they'll be playing with Hellenbach, and Saturday, they'll be playing with Pop Goes Metal. So those are two great shows. I'm sure it's going to be a blast all weekend, so get the Grays, go over to Tam O'Shanter's and get something to eat if you're hungry, and then roll on back to Grays and have the night of your life. Let's move on over to the Zoo Bar. Friday night, they've got Melody Trucks and their band. Melody is the daughter of the late Butch Trucks from the Allman Brothers Band, the drummer, and they're carrying that sweet Southern rock vibe. I think that's a $12 in advance show, $15 at the door, 9 p.m. show. Get there for that if that's your thing. Saturday night, they've got Underbite playing a couple of sets over there. And that's really all the information I have on that. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's move over to Duffy's now. Duffy's Saturday night at 10 p.m. They've got Jack with also guest Estrogen Projection. That'll be a great show. 1867 Friday night, they've got, and I have no idea, it's LYXE, Leaks, I don't know, but I've heard they're an awesome band. I just don't know how to pronounce the name. So they've got Red Cities as well, and Within Wilds, 8 p.m. show. Looks like a $13 cover for that, so that's not too darn bad. Unlucky 13 is not unlucky that night. Let's move on over to the south side of town to Cappy's. Bazooka Joe's is there. They're going to be playing at 8:30 p.m. Friday night, and that is the fourth member of the band here in Scratch the Vinyl, the unofficial member, Rich Bretta. Richie, we love you. And everybody get out there and support him and that band. because they seem to be doing great things. So this is their debut at Cappy's. Get on over there, fill that place, and show Richard and the band the love that they deserve. So now let's talk about a few sponsors. Let's talk about Backtrack Records. If you need records, I can't think of a better place to go than Backtrack Records. I go to all the record shops, but I get a certain different joy when I go to Backtrack Records. I get everything I need there now. And to be honest with you, they open earlier than the other places. So to me, that means a little bit more. I can go early like a grandma. I can roll through there, and then I can go take a nap or something. So go to Backtrack Records, get those records. Roots Music Shop, Ryan is the best in the business. Go get those instruments, because honestly, your cool factor will instantly go up if you buy, especially a guitar. Get over to Roots and grab an instrument. You'll be instantly cooler, I swear. You've got American Senior Benefits. Call them, get a hold of them, ask for Jason DeGosh, and he will hook you up with all of that knowledge that man has in his mind. So get a hold of them. What else can I say, everybody? Sly Ink Tattoo, get over there to Bryce, get those tattoos. I know you guys need that sweet kiss tattoo, or a dolphin, or like a mountaintop and a sword coming out of it. So get over there, talk to Bryce. And that's all we have for today. So let's get back to it with our guest, Michael Beck. I think last time we talked, I think it was with you. We talked about the horror stories of me eating potato salad at 3 a.m. after gigs. And so what's not on the menu for this tour? That's what I want to ask you right now.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Last time we were here, we stayed because I live in Phoenix. The whole band is from Phoenix, but I moved to Phoenix in '94 from Lincoln. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a Lincolnite, or whatever you guys call yourselves this week. A Husker, I guess. So we stayed with my parents the last time we were through here, and my mom made enchiladas, and I lost my voice.
Oh, man.
So it was, I didn't lose it, but I lost part of my range. So it was difficult getting through a show at Gray's when you only have half your range. And of course, I blame it on my mom. So
and those sweet enchiladas that she made.
Stupid enchiladas. So I avoid spicy stuff when I'm on the road. I try and drink lots of water. Us singers are just high maintenance, man. We just are.
No gas station sushi.
Brian's going, yeah.
As Brian's driving him around, he's like, man, I'm still putting up with this guy, wheeling him around everywhere.
I did buy him breakfast for his birthday. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So I know that you're also here, Michael, in capacity of when you come here, a lot of times you'll do some recording.
I do.
If you want to talk about that, I would love to.
Sure.
I know you generally record at Fuse.
Yep.
And so I noticed that you were recording Twisted Chrome while they were in, right?
Yeah, I did their first record, which is out now, probably a year ago, something like that. And we just did a new single while I was here. And then I also did if you're from the Lincoln, Omaha area, which you probably are, there's a band called Soul Dog that's been around for a long time. They do a lot of R&B, some, jazz pop type stuff. And the guitar player named Terry Olson has been a good friend of mine for a long time. And we started his solo record this week, which is really cool. It's kind of Steely Dan-ish type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I come to Lincoln 3 or 4 times a year to record bands from, Texas and Nebraska and Iowa and Minnesota. And it's just easier for me to come there and for everybody to go. And then I take all the material back to my studio in Arizona and mix it back there. So yeah, I'm here 3 or 4 times a year. Works out pretty good. I've been doing that for 11 years. That's kind of my day job.
What's your advice to these musicians that come in the studio? I'm sure one is have your songs rehearsed, right? And be ready when it comes time. But what can you tell these guys that come into studio when they record with you?
Well, here's the thing. I work not only as a recording engineer, I work much more as a producer. So when a band comes in, getting guitar tones and drum tones and all that stuff is one thing, but finding the essence of the song and honing in on that and really taking a band that is a good local band and making them a good national band is what I do. That's what a producer does. You find the good part of the songs, you hone in on those things, and again, to make a song not sound local and to sound more national, it's not big things, it's a whole bunch of little ones. It's not the sound of the kick drum, the sound of the guitar, because that should be there anyway. It's, the drummer going to the ride cymbal on the bridge to make sure he's following the bass line and to open up the vocal, changing the kick pattern to match what the vocal is doing in the verse. It's little things like that really make a song more listenable. And that's what I do as a producer. So sometimes, it's great to be rehearsed and you should be, but that's like on a list of 10, that's probably 8.
Yeah, for sure.
Because a lot of times I'm changing stuff and I'm not, ripping the verse out and putting another verse, and I'm not working that hard. If a song's there, it's there. If I feel like the verse has got to completely change, then I would just rather record another song. But I'm also honest with the band about that and making sure that we're recording the best material the best way possible. And taking it to that next level is what a producer does. So it's, like I said, it's a lot of little things, and hopefully the bands that I've recorded can attest to that. I think they can. Twisted Chrome is a great example, really good band. We came in and worked through their first record, and just a lot of little things. They've got a good lineup, great singer, great guitar player. And so asking them to, hey, can you play that a little different and follow what's going on? It just makes the song sit in the mix so much better.
And you have people like behind the scenes. They're important at all of it. And like Cain for Scratch the Vinyl, he's our producer. If it wasn't for him, I don't even know what this show would be like.
Golf cart.
It'd be a golf cart running around and picking fingers and legs up, and I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to do that, though. I know you're kind of, making it sound a little bit easier than it, but it's hard. Like listening to those certain spots, finding those little, tweaks that you have to do, and then, creating it. It takes a long time, and it is really hard work to do. And that's why, like Cain, I'm like, man, when do you sleep? I sleep with my eyes open.
Finding guitar tones and stuff is one thing, but when you have two guitar players, you can't just find two guitar tones. You have to find two guitar tones that lock together and that complement each other. And then those have to complement the sound of the drums, and those have to complement the sound of the bass. And just a recording engineer, you can have a great sounding bass, great sounding kick drum, and great sounding guitars, but if they don't lock together, then it's just music. It's not really a song. And that's the difference between just a recording engineer and recording with a producer.
Well, I mean, I can attest to that. I mean, I am by no means a music producer. I mean, Michael is a real music, but now I produce my own music. I know that there's some things that are good, some things that suck. I can't dial in the tone. It's really hard for the amateur to do this stuff, which is why it's important to go. I always did it out of necessity. Right. I mean, I just, with my whatever is going on, I've never had the money to make it to studio. It's not that people didn't believe in me. It's not that the songs weren't there. It's just, I just never did it. So I've always done everything on my own, especially like with bands. I was always a business guy. I always owned all the PAs. I'm just kind of a do-it-yourself guy. Now, podcast, Brooke, I appreciate you saying that. Podcast is different. You can do it at a small level like this where, you come into my small studio and I've got
That's
a
a great
mixer.
setup.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I get nervous when there's like a real producer on set, so to speak, because it's like, well, man, here's my little love dungeon. Here's the casting couch.
Yeah,
Come
I'm
join
not
me.
getting into the whole love dungeon thing. In the other room, I saw that when we walked in.
Yeah, sorry about the
I'm
swing.
not going to say anything, but you opened the door. So
Wait till you open the closet door.
I'm not going near the closet. I've told my thing. Stay away from the closet.
It's
For
just
the
me.
noises in the other room,
Yeah, I and again, like you say, it's not cheap, but you are, and I tell bands this all the time, you are better off, even if it's not me, finding a producer, a quality producer, and really nailing 2 songs, 3 songs, than going out and recording 10 that are pretty good.
Yeah.
10 pretty good songs doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't do anything for you. 2 songs that sound phenomenal and radio ready and label ready will get you way further.
I agree with you because sometimes I've heard like a whole album and they all sound the same almost. Like all the songs kind of sound the same.
Yes. Yeah.
And you want it to be different in a sense. And I can tell when it's just kind of like, let's put this together. And it's great, but there's nothing like super cool about each individual song. And that sounds like what you do.
Again, that's what a producer does. Is part of my job is to find the band's sound, not what they play live, because that's a different thing. But once we dial in kind of a format of who does what, and if there's 2 guitar players, one usually plays more chunkier stuff, one usually plays more melody stuff. Where does the singer fit into that? Where does the drummer fit into the songwriting? How does the bass player work with the drummer in the context of the song? And finding exactly how that works and honing in on those things, again, that's a producer's job. And I have bands all the time that record. Even Twisted Chrome the other day is like, well, now we got to go back and relearn this song because I've changed one of the guitar melodies, and I didn't change it a lot. I just simplified it so it worked with what the other guitar player was playing, but not necessarily playing the same thing. It's a counter melody. Little tweaks on the vocals here and there. And I think it's a little easier for me being a vocalist when I work with the singer. I'll just sing it to him, instead of trying to explain, going, do it right here. He'll go, do it right here. And the difference between those two, again, you can auto-tune stuff, but you can't fake tone. You can't fake delivery. And hopefully being me being a singer, I can add that to not only the guitars, but to all the instruments, because again, you can play a guitar piece, you can play a bar, on a drums, whatever the bass is doing, you can play it exactly the same way and have it not be exactly the same way. Have it fit in when you play it with a little more definition and a little more attitude. And those are all the things a producer does. And all those help a band not sound like a local band. And then when they go back to being live, again, they're kind of relearning some parts, but they're also a lot more focused on who they are in the band, if that all makes sense.
Oh, dude, this is what we love about bringing people like yourself on the show, is we're giving the young musicians, especially, invaluable information. Like everyone that we bring on who is a musician, everyone shares something. And that's what I needed when I was coming up as a young musician. I just listened. I like everybody, I just listened to the records. I played to them. I learned from all my friends, Uncle Alice and all these people. But, I didn't have anyone to point me in the right directions. Like I can remember listening to music and not even understanding, like, okay, where's the bass in there? And
Right.
where do I play here? And,
Where do you fit in?
how many guitars are really, because when you listen to like grunge, for example, like with Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins. There's a lot of layered guitars, layers upon layers of guitars.
Almost everything you've listened to, even stuff like, stuff like Green Day, that is a really stripped down band. There's 4 to 8 guitar parts on each side of the speaker.
Exactly.
There's a lot of vocals that you don't really hear, that are harmonies and backups and layers that you don't really hear, but if you muted them, it would become a lot less interesting.
Yeah. Well, it'd be like my my early recordings were out of a little Tascam that you could, and it had a microphone on, and you could plug a mic, and I would go, and I had one of the Misery machines that I was driving. I would go out by Bowling Lake, and I would try to find a quiet place, and I would record in this van by myself. And I didn't know, I wasn't going to do it in the shower. I thought, man, that's been done, but I'll do it here in this crappy van. And they're fun to listen to, but they're like the world's most ridiculous recording.
And let's be honest, being on a lake in a van by yourself is already a lot of problems.
Are you sure it's not a river?
No, that was later after my old lady kicked me out. Then it was a van down by the river.
I want to hear those recordings.
I burned them.
I actually, that brings up a story that I did a band from Kearney, great band called Slant Piece. Great band.
Guys, yeah.
And great band, kind of Black Label meets Clutch. Just a really good band. And they had this tour van. It was just a murder van. It was, no door skins on the door. It's this old Ford Econoline that was just, Nebraska weathered. It was just beat to crap. And we went downtown. We took the van because, everybody can fit in the van. We went downtown for lunch, and everybody in Slant Piece has these big Duck Dynasty beards and hair down to the middle of their back. Every single one of them. And so, and then you got me as well. So we go down to downtown Lincoln to some restaurant down there to eat lunch while we're recording their first record. And we all get out, and Bill, the drummer, again, this big, tall, lanky guy with this huge beard and long hair and a backwards baseball cap, and could be mistaken for homeless probably at any given moment for the most part. And we get out of the van, and Bill doesn't get out, and we're all kind of turning around like, what is he doing? And, it's summertime, and all the UNL hotties are out walking around in downtown, and there's 5 or 6 of them walking in a group on the street. And as soon as they get near the van, the back door's open, and Bill, with all his long hair and beard, opens the door and goes, "Free candy."
And I was going to ask, were you handing out candy? Oh my God.
This girl stood in place and ran and screamed, going, "Ah!" for a good 10 seconds. And the other girls then screamed by attrition. And, then they're all, "Oh, screw you, you asshole." And we are on the sidewalk dying laughing. "You assholes."
I would love to have seen that, man. I'm not going to try it, though, and especially in today's, I'm definitely getting tased and dying if that happens.
Well, I have a friend that has a hearse. He sells them. And I said, "Can I go down to the cemetery sometime and just jump out and be like, I'm alive?"
There's something about a pale woman in a cemetery, man. You know what I mean? You don't really know what you're seeing when you're out there.
I'm going to do it. I want to just mess with, well, not during like a funeral, but I'm Grandma Mildred's here. But you know what? Maybe give candy.
That's amazing, Brooke.
Oh, that's funny.
Rancher.
Yeah.
Here's a life cookie. They were like, "What?" Oh my gosh. That's hilarious though. If you guys would have did that to me, I probably would have like, "No, seriously, you guys got like dum-dums, you got like the, anything can't like super sweet, sour," and then just freak you guys out.
Priceless. I mean, eyes as big as baseballs, running in place, and screaming. That was great.
Now, Brooke, I think because we're getting closer to the end of the show, I think since we have our big event coming up, I think from here on out, we definitely want to start mentioning that. So let's talk about it right now. So May 25th at Kelly's Pub, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., we're going to, with the documentary director, Kathy Lohmeyer, we're going to remember the drumstick right there. And I don't know. So I'll ask you right now, do you remember the drumstick?
Oh, do
Mike?
I? Absolutely. I played there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Absolutely.
what are you doing May 25th?
I don't know if I think it was Brigade. Yeah, I know it was Brigade. We played there. We used to play there and the Green Frog an awful lot.
Oh, man. This is Lincoln history coming out,
This
man.
is Lincoln history. Yeah. I've been to the Drumstick and played at the Drumstick and been a part of the Drumstick on numerous occasions. Absolutely.
Man, what are you doing May 25th? Like in your little tour, can you just kind of dip down?
Back in Phoenix, but I would love to be here.
Well, we might do a live show, so you might be able to see it.
What is May 25th?
So what's going on is it's a Sunday. We're basically putting on an event with Kathy. And I think a lot of it is Kathy. She wants to remember her brother. She wants to remember, but she wants people to never forget the drumstick. And I know a lot of young guys like me, like I've only heard of the drumstick through all the bandmates that I've had.
Right.
Right. Like they're always talking about, oh, the drumstick, man, you should have been at the drumstick.
Oh.
I wished I had. And so this is kind of like she's raising funds for future events, maybe get that documentary out there a
I
little
was
bit.
going to say there was a documentary on it, right? I haven't seen it.
Absolutely.
It's out?
It is. If you go to rememberthedrumstick.com, I believe, you can go there. And if you put in donation, she will send you a DVD if you want it.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got the DVD. I just initially, at first I went to the Ross and I saw it when they did a showing there during COVID. But then recently I got a copy from her. And then I was like, I'm going to shoot my shot. We're a music podcast. A lot of people listen to it. And she's from Tennessee. She just happened to be coming here. She came on the show and the rest is history. Now we're doing events with her. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I definitely remember that place. That was an icon here in this town for a long time.
Well, she's gonna eat this up when she hears that our guest here is just yet another person who played at the drumstick.
I have passed through the drumsticks, so to speak.
That is so cool. And that's what she wants. She wants to hear those stories about, people playing there and just even
the Terry Olson, who I just recorded, he was the guitar player in a very popular band called the Finsters in the 90s, if you remember them. They played the drumstick all the time.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Well, I definitely want to invite people to come down. There's going to be live music. I believe Red Max is going to be playing, who played there. We're getting some other acts in there. We're working that out. And it's going to be music. We're going to have food. The Harold with barbecue. I forget Harold's barbecue company's name, but they're going to be there. Word on the street is there could
Harold's
be
barbecue.
It could be Harold's barbecue. That way,
I think it's just Harold's barbecue.
like a cute name or not. So I was like, yeah, you really butchered that one, Dick.
It's actually no, it's just Harold's BBQ. That's different. I don't know.
Yeah, that's totally. What if he's like, yeah, I recently quit all that and I work for Hog Wild now or something.
Yeah. He works for McDonald's where the drumstick used to be. Like, screw this.
Exactly. Well, it's going to be a great time. We're going to be giving away prizes. There'll be drumstick swag. We'll have some STV cool stuff. And there might be some mystery stuff from my house that, I used to do that at my karaoke shows. I used to like gather up all this cool stuff that I want to unload on the public. And then if they donate so much money, hey, it could be something great, or it could be Cain's garage sale.
It's a grab bag.
It's a grab.
Yeah, it's like when you go into Super Saver and they're like, this is $79 for this cart, and all you get is like old chips, or it could be ham. We don't know.
It's going to be fantastic. Mike, before we go, do you want to tell people once again the dates that you'll be touring, especially here in Nebraska?
Well, and I can tell you, I don't know if this is all of the dates, but I know the 2 dates here at Gray's Keg, which is May 9th and 10th, basically this weekend. And then into that next week, I know we're doing it at the Council Bluffs Date, which is at this new club called the B-Side Room. Used to be Maloney's Live, but they've redone it, and it's supposed to be really cool. I've seen pictures. But at escapethehiveofficial.com, there, I know the label is doing a promotion where the first 15 people that come in the door get a free merch bag. Now, I don't know what that includes. It doesn't include guitars, I'm sure. But you get I know there's a signed autograph picture from all of us. There's some merch involved, but it's the first 15 people in the door each night. So, and I think in Council Bluffs, they're even doing like a pizza party, beforehand, before we play and all that stuff. So definitely go to escapethehiveofficial.com. You can get all your tickets there. There's pre-sale tickets, and then obviously at the door, and take advantage of all that. Yeah. And I'll see everybody May 9th and 10th here in Lincoln. I can't wait.
Thank you so much. And we will be down there. Well, at least I'm going to try to make it down there at one point. Just maybe pop out of a van with some candy.
Please. Please. If I run in place like a girl, then
get over here, little boy. Yeah. All right. We can make that happen.
It's got to happen. I mean, they're going to be there for 2 nights. Maybe I'll resurrect one of the misery machines, and we'll make that dirty appearance.
Yeah, and please, I mean, if you've never seen Escape the Hive, or if you have seen us at one of our tour dates through previously, definitely come down. The fact that it's right before my birthday will be a huge thing in its own. But the new show is really good. I can't wait for everybody to hear the new material and go listen to the brand new single on your digital platform of choice right now. It's called Around the Sun, and that way you'll know all the words by the time you see us this weekend.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming to the studio, Michael. I mean, anytime you come in here, we'll have you back no matter what. So.
Man, he has opened a door.
I've opened the door.
Where every time it's going to be, oh, that guy is here again.
Yeah. You and I will be in the closet together. Hey, we're right here. Where's Randy? We're ready for another show.
Go.
Okay.
Be involved. I'll consider
it. Or we could go in your van. Either one.
You have to make room for all my skeletons. That's
that's right.
All right. Well, everybody, we did it again. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Tune in next week. But for the millions and millions of listeners out there, thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you again on the flip side. We'll talk to you next week here on
Scratch the Vinyl.
Yeah.